Welcome, everyone. I am just so thrilled you're here with us today because we are embarking on a journey that, honestly, it might just fundamentally alter the way you view the world around you.
It really might.
Yeah, and specifically, how you view your own potential. We're jumping right into another deep dive, and today's topic is one that touches every single one of us, whether we like to admit it or not.
Right.
We were talking about wealth. But we're not talking about, stock portfolios or compound interest or the traditional nuts and bolts of financial planning.
No, definitely not.
No, we are going completely off the beaten path today. Our mission for this deep dive is to uncover the deeply hidden, entirely subconscious blocks that keep people from experiencing financial abundance.
The invisible stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We want to provide you with some highly actionable, if slightly unconventional methods for completely rewriting those hidden internal scripts.
Which is so needed right now.
It is. And our source material today is incredibly unique. It comes from a profound, completely anonymous audio seminar that focuses entirely on healing one's relationship with money.
Yeah, it's an amazing blend of deep psychological analysis and esoteric energy practices.
And I got to tell you, as I was going through these notes, it completely flipped the script on how I view even the simplest daily interactions.
It truly is a paradigm-shifting set of teachings. What makes this anonymous audio so incredibly compelling is the way it brilliantly links our deeply ingrained, often completely unacknowledged generational traumas to these seemingly mundane financial habits we act out every single day.
Yeah.
We often think of money purely in terms of mathematics and cold, hard logic, right? But this instruction challenges us to view wealth as an energetic frequency.
A frequency.
Yes. It frames money as a flow that we are either subconsciously inviting into our lives or aggressively yet unknowingly blocking. It asks us to look at the psychological underpinnings of our financial reality and forces us to confront the uncomfortable truth that our external bank accounts are often just a direct mirror of our internal state of worthiness.
Okay, let's unpack this, because the very first concept the audio tackles head-on is the psychology of receiving and the massive imbalance most of us have between giving and receiving.
It's huge.
It is. We live in a society that constantly praises the act of giving. We're taught from a very young age that it's better to give than to receive.
Absolutely.
And while generosity is obviously a beautiful thing, there's a fascinating argument in the audio that many people actually pride themselves on being generous as a subconscious mechanism to completely block wealth.
Just simply because they absolutely refuse to receive it themselves?
Yes, it's wild.
It is a paradox that trips up so many well-meaning people. On the surface, being the person who always pays for dinner or the person who is always offering help, it looks like pure altruism.
Right. You look like the good guy.
Exactly. But the instructor suggests that an inability to receive is often rooted in hidden pride, a subtle form of arrogance, and a deep desire for control.
A desire for control.
Think about it. When you give, you are in the position of power. You're the benefactor.
Okay.
When you're forced to receive, you have to be vulnerable. You have to admit that you're worthy of someone else's resources without having earned them in that exact moment.
Oh, that hits hard.
Right. Rejecting a gift, deflecting a compliment, or insisting on paying every single time sends a powerful subconscious signal that literally halts the energetic flow of abundance into your life.
Wait, I have to play devil's advocate here.
Go for it.
If I don't let my friend pay for my coffee, am I really blocking my financial destiny? Isn't that just being polite? I mean, we're culturally conditioned to do that little dance where we fight over the bill, right?
We are conditioned to do it, yes, but we have to look at the psychological friction underneath that politeness. It's one thing to be polite. It's another to feel a visceral sense of discomfort or anxiety when someone tries to do something nice for you.
Okay, I see the distinction.
This seminar provides a brilliant example of when this crosses the line from politeness into a pathological need for control.
Right, there's this incredibly illustrative anecdote in the notes about this exact dynamic.
The gym one.
Yes. It involves a person who absolutely loved paying for everyone's meals. They thrived on that feeling of being the provider. So one day, this person decided they wanted to secretly pay for a friend's gym membership as a gift.
Which sounds incredibly nice on the surface.
It does. So they go to the owners of the gym, who happen to be acquaintances, and offer to cover the friend's fees. Now, the owners of the gym were known to be incredibly strict with their money, almost to the point of being stingy.
Right, they never gave anything away.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But to the shock of the person offering the money, the gym owners flat out refused to take it. Instead, they insisted on giving the friend the membership entirely for free.
And look at the psychological reaction there. Instead of being happy for their friend, how did the person who wanted to pay react?
The notes say they were visibly distressed. It ruined their mood for days.
It short-circuited them.
Totally. They had this intense internal reaction, this feeling that they had to be the one to give the money, and being denied that opportunity totally wrecked them.
Exactly. Because it was never actually about the friend getting a free gym membership. It was about the giver maintaining their identity as the ultimate provider.
Wow.
It exposed their own inability to just let a gift happen without being the one orchestrating it. This raises an important question for you, the listener.
Yeah, think about this.
How often do you deflect a compliment? If someone says, "You look great today," do you immediately say, "Oh, this old thing, I got it on sale," instead of just saying a simple thank you?
I do that all the time.
Most of us do. How often do you refuse a small gift or a favor because you don't want to feel indebted? What if that exact same psychological mechanism, that precise discomfort with simply receiving, is the very thing keeping your bank account empty?
That is a terrifying thought.
If you cannot accept a verbal compliment without resistance, how can your subconscious possibly accept a sudden influx of financial wealth? You are constantly signaling to your environment that you do not want things given to you.
That completely flips the script on how we view generosity. It makes you reevaluate every time you've deflected a compliment.
It really does.
And the instruction takes this concept even deeper with a chemical analogy that I found incredibly helpful. The speaker compares our energetic state regarding wealth to the chemical properties of iron and gold.
This is a great metaphor.
So let's look at iron. Iron has a missing electron charge. It's constantly seeking to bind with something else, like oxygen, which has a surplus of electrons.
Right, it's chemically meaty.
Exactly. So when iron and oxygen meet, they bind forcefully. But what happens? The iron rusts. It decays.
It's destroyed.
It is essentially destroyed by the very thing it aggressively bonded with. The audio equates this iron state to a person who is desperate, needy, or overly aggressive in their desire for money.
It is a brilliant way to conceptualize the energy of desperation. If you are operating like iron, you have this massive, gaping void, this missing internal charge.
You feel empty.
Yes. You feel inadequate, and you believe that acquiring money will finally make you whole. But that desperate neediness makes you highly reactive. You grasp at opportunities out of fear. You make poor, impulsive decisions out of a scarcity mindset.
Because you're just trying to fill the void.
Exactly. And if you do manage to attract money while in that desperate iron state, it often ruins you. It causes massive stress. It corrupts your relationships. Or you lose the money just as quickly as you gained it because you don't know how to handle the pressure. You rust.
You rust. Wow.
Gold, on the other hand, is chemically neutral. It does not have that same desperate missing charge. Because it's neutral, it doesn't bind forcefully with oxygen. It simply exists, maintaining its purity and its value over time. It never rusts.
So what does this all mean for us practically? How do we stop being iron and start being gold?
The lesson here is that you must become energetically neutral to truly attract and maintain wealth. If you are vibrating with desperation, you repel the very thing you want, or you attract situations that decay your life.
So you have to stop caring.
Not stop caring, but you have to reach a point where you desire wealth and you take practical action toward it, but you do not need it to validate your existence or soothe your anxiety.
Ah, I see.
You have to be fundamentally okay whether it is there or not. Ironically, letting go of the desperate attachment to the outcome is the exact state required to allow abundance to flow to you effortlessly.
It's like trying to catch a butterfly. If you grasp at it, it flies away.
Precisely. It's about removing the friction. When you are desperately asking for money because you feel a massive void, you are broadcasting a frequency of lack. If you emit lack, you receive more situations that confirm your lack.
But if you're neutral?
If you vibrate at a neutral golden frequency of inherent worthiness, you allow abundance to settle into your life without the corrosive effects of desperation.
Which leads us perfectly into the next major concept. Subconscious sabotage.
This is where it gets a bit wild.
It really does. We all consciously think we want more money, right? We all say we want to be wealthy. But there's a compelling case made here that our subconscious minds will literally create chaos to protect us from money if our internal beliefs aren't aligned with having it.
This is where we transition from the psychology of receiving into the sheer raw power of our hidden belief systems. Our subconscious mind is primarily a protection mechanism.
It wants to keep us safe.
Its primary job is to keep us safe by keeping us in familiar territory, even if that familiar territory is miserable.
Right.
If deep down you hold a core belief that money is evil, or that rich people are corrupt, or that having money will make your family envious and resentful of you, your subconscious will view wealth as a massive threat to your safety and your social standing.
So it fights back.
Even if your conscious mind is begging for a promotion or hoping for a lottery win, your subconscious will work overtime to ensure it never happens because it thinks it is saving your life.
There's a wild story in the notes to illustrate this. There was a person trying to sell a beautiful luxury villa for $850,000.
That'd be easy enough.
It should have been a very straightforward transaction. The house was great, the market was good. But every single time a buyer agreed to the price and they were about to finalize the sale, a bizarre disaster would strike the buyer out of nowhere.
Out of absolutely nowhere.
One buyer was suddenly rushed to the hospital with a severe medical emergency the night before signing. Another potential buyer fell down a flight of stairs and broke bones.
Just terrible luck.
Yet another was involved in a serious motorcycle crash. Now, my first reaction to reading this was, wait, so my bad thoughts caused a motorcycle crash? That sounds like telekinesis or something.
It certainly sounds like a string of incredibly bad luck or a cursed house. But what's fascinating here is how this is interpreted as an energetic roadblock.
Okay, explain that.
The audio explains that life operates almost like a grand chess game. These weren't merely random coincidences, and no, you weren't using telekinesis to push someone off a motorcycle.
Cute. Good.
But the concept is that the overarching energetic field organizes itself around your core frequency. The seller of the villa was not truly subconsciously aligned with the transaction.
Why not?
Perhaps they felt deep guilt about acquiring that much wealth, or they had unresolved emotional issues tied to the property, or they were secretly terrified of what they would actually do with that large sum of money once they had it.
So the energy just shut it down.
Because the seller's internal frequency was essentially screaming, "Do not let this happen," the environment manifested blockages. The subconscious actively blocks paths that aren't meant for us, or paths that we are secretly terrified of taking, often in the most dramatic ways possible by aligning us with circumstances that halt our progress.
It really underscores how interconnected we are with our environment. And this brings us to an incredible aha moment from the material. Where do these deep-seated fears of money come from? Why are we so terrified of success?
That's the million-dollar question.
The source points heavily toward generational trauma. Many of us inherited a famine or poverty mindset from our ancestors. Think about our grandparents or great-grandparents who survived global wars, severe economic depressions, and literal starvation.
That trauma leaves a mark.
That kind of intense, prolonged trauma doesn't just disappear when the war ends, it gets passed down. But for the listener who might not be familiar with how trauma gets passed down physically, can you give us an explain, like I'm 5 breakdown of how that actually works? The notes mention epigenetics briefly.
Absolutely. Think of your DNA as a massive library of instruction manuals for how to build and operate your body. For a long time, science thought that library was totally fixed.
Right, like you get what you get.
Exactly. But epigenetics is the study of how your behaviors and your environment can cause changes that affect the way your genes work. To use a simple analogy, epigenetics doesn't change the words in the instruction manual, but it places sticky notes on certain pages, telling your body to either ignore this page or read this page twice.
Oh, I like that analogy. Sticky notes.
If your ancestors survived by the skin of their teeth, hoarding every scrap of food and living in constant, terrifying fear of the next famine, that intense stress put biological sticky notes on their genes.
Warning them to be careful.
That vibration of severe scarcity, that constant hypervigilance is written into your cellular memory. So you might be living in a modern, comfortable apartment with a fully stocked fridge, but your subconscious reading those ancestral sticky notes is still bracing for a brutal winter without food.
That is such a clear way to understand it. And the audio explains how this actually manifests physically in our bodies today, specifically with food.
This part is fascinating.
The claim is that an intense, insatiable craving for bread and heavy, dense doughs is actually a direct link to this generational poverty mindset.
It's an echo.
Yeah, even when eating a huge plate of pasta or a massive loaf of bread doesn't offer true nutritional fullness. In fact, it usually just makes you feel lethargic and bloated.
Oh, wow.
People still crave it desperately. The argument is that this is a biological and psychological echo of our ancestors' desperate need to feel physically full and survive scarcity.
It is a profound connection. When we are stressed today, particularly about our finances or job security or our mortgage, Our bodies revert to that ancestral programming.
We seek comfort in the dough.
We crave the heaviest, densest, most accessible calories possible because our cellular memory is screaming, famine is coming, fill the stomach with whatever is cheapest and heaviest right now. It is not just a lack of dietary willpower. It is a manifestation of a poverty frequency vibrating within the physical body in response to modern stress. Understanding that can completely reframe how someone views their own eating habits and their underlying financial anxieties. It is all deeply connected.
It makes you look at a bagel in a completely different way. You start asking yourself, am I actually hungry for this, or is my great-grandfather panicking about the winter crop failure?
Exactly.
It is a brilliant way to physicalize an abstract concept like a poverty mindset. And speaking of the physical realm, let's move into the third section of our outline, which deals with the physical environment around us. The energy of the home.
Your physical space.
The instruction presents money as a receptive, flowing energy. It's often categorized in these esoteric traditions as a feminine energy. It flows, it fills containers, it needs to be respected and nurtured, and this flow is directly reflected in how we treat our physical environment.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the state of your home is an externalized map of your internal subconscious mind. If money is a flowing, receptive energy, then the pathways in your home must be clear to allow that flow.
Makes sense?
When you disrespect your physical environment, or when you simply ignore decay and stagnation within your home, you are visually and energetically demonstrating a complete lack of respect for the flow of abundance.
There's a detail shared here that is actually quite jarring. It describes a situation where a coin fell into a toilet in a home and the residents just left it there.
Oh, that's rough.
They didn't fish it out, they didn't clean it, they just left it sitting in the toilet bowl for days. Just picture that for a second.
Yeah.
Every time you go into the bathroom, you are looking at literal currency sitting in human waste.
It's awful.
This literal flushing away of value perfectly mirrors their internal disrespect for money. And the result for those residents was severe financial stagnation. They were literally treating money like waste, and so their financial lives turned to waste.
It is a stark, almost visceral metaphor, but a very powerful one. Every single time they looked in that bowl, they reinforced the subconscious idea that money was dirty, disposable, and unworthy of the slight effort required to retrieve it.
And the audio goes much further into the actual plumbing of a house, too.
Right. In this philosophy, water represents the flow of life and the flow of finances. Therefore, stagnant water is considered a massive energetic block.
So like a dirty fish tank.
Exactly. If you have a broken indoor fountain that just sits in the corner gathering dust, or a dead aquarium filled with murky green water that you haven't cleaned out in months, you are literally harboring stagnant, dead financial energy in your living space.
And what about leaking plumbing? The instruction is very specific about this. A dripping faucet, a toilet that constantly runs, a pipe that sweats and drips under the sink.
Those are major issues.
These are not just annoying maintenance issues. In this framework, they literally represent financial leaks. You are letting your wealth, your energy, slowly and continuously drip away.
Think about the psychological toll of a dripping faucet. You hear it at night, you know it's wasting resources, you know you should call a plumber or fix it yourself, but you put it off. You procrastinate.
Because it's just a small drip.
Right. Right, but that willingness to tolerate a slow drain of resources right in front of your face is the exact same mindset that ignores small, unnecessary, recurring subscription fees on your credit card, or tolerates being underpaid at a job.
That makes so much sense.
By ignoring the physical leak, you are actively training your mind to accept financial leaks. Fixing the plumbing is not just home repair. It is an act of reclaiming your power and sealing up the holes in your financial vessel.
So we all need to take a hard look around our homes. Are we unknowingly letting our energy drip away?
Probably.
The notes also provide some highly actionable advice regarding the specific rooms in our homes, particularly the kitchen. The kitchen is identified as the absolute heart of wealth generation.
Which is very traditional in many cultures.
It makes sense. It's the hearth. It's where raw elements are transformed into nourishment and life. Because of this, it is strongly advised to use the color red in the kitchen. Red is the color of fire, of stimulation, of active production and abundance. Bringing red into the kitchen, whether through wall decor, appliances, or even just small accents, energetically stimulates the production of wealth.
However, there is a very important caveat to this color theory. While red stimulates production in the kitchen, there is a strict warning that using too much red in the bathroom is highly detrimental.
Oh, really? Why is that?
Think about the function of the room. The bathroom is a place of elimination, of cleansing, and of draining. If you put a highly active, stimulating color like red in a room designed specifically for draining, you accelerate the draining process.
Oh, wow. You're supercharging the drain.
Energetically, you are hitting the gas pedal on the very place where resources leave your home. It accelerates the draining of your finances and your personal energy.
It's fascinating to think about interior design as an actual financial strategy. And this leads us directly into our next section, which gets into the nitty-gritty of physically anchoring our intentions. Manifestation pitfalls and creating a wealth bowl.
This is where a lot of people go wrong.
Yes, a lot of people try to manifest money, but they do it entirely wrong. They accidentally repel the wealth they're desperately trying to attract.
The modern vision board culture has popularized the idea of just staring at pictures of what you want and waiting for it to arrive. But without understanding the underlying energetic mechanics and your own psychology, it can backfire completely.
You just end up frustrating yourself.
You have to align the physical representation of your desire with the correct energetic environment, and more importantly, with the congruent internal state.
Let's talk about the perfect example from the material, which we can call the refrigerator mistake.
Yeah.
Now, I have definitely been guilty of the refrigerator vision board. I think I had a picture of a beautiful beach house stuck under a magnet from a local pizza place for about 3 years.
Did you get the beach house?
Safe to say, it didn't work. In this story, there was a person who desperately wanted a luxury sports car. So they cut out a picture of this beautiful, expensive car and stuck it right on the front of their refrigerator. They look at it every day while getting their morning coffee. But it failed miserably for 2 very specific reasons.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the dual nature of the failure is so interesting. First, let's look at the literal physics and the physical placement. A refrigerator is an appliance designed to cool things down.
Right.
Its entire purpose is to preserve items by slowing down their molecular activity. Placing a heated, passionate desire, an intention for rapid manifestation and dynamic change onto a device whose sole energetic purpose is to cool, freeze, and slow things down is a massive contradiction.
You're literally freezing your dreams.
You are energetically cooling down your intention. You are putting your dreams on ice, quite literally.
That is such a specific and wild perspective. When you look at the literal thermodynamic purpose of a fridge versus the metaphysical intention of manifestation, the contradiction makes total sense. And the second reason it failed was purely psychological.
The anxiety.
Exactly. Almost immediately after putting the picture of the luxury car on the fridge, the person started worrying. They looked at the car and thought, wait, even if I get that car, how on earth am I going to afford the premium gas for it? The insurance will be astronomical. The maintenance will ruin me.
And right there, the manifestation is dead in the water. The subconscious mind proved that it was completely unaligned with the reality of actually possessing that wealth.
They just like the idea of it.
The person didn't actually want the reality of the car, they just wanted the fantasy of being a person who owned one. As soon as the practical reality of wealth was introduced, their internal poverty programming kicked in and generated massive anxiety.
They started vibrating with fear instead of joy.
They vibrated with the fear of expense rather than the joy of ownership. If your desire immediately triggers anxiety about how you will sustain it, you are proving to the environment that you are not ready to hold that level of energy. You are the iron that will rust when exposed to the oxygen of wealth.
So how do we do it right? How do we physically anchor our intentions without triggering fear or freezing the energy?
With a proper wealth bowl.
Yes. The audio provides incredibly extensive specific instructions for creating what they call a wealth bowl or a wealth center in the home. And we're going to walk through this in detail because the specifics matter. First off, location. The wealth bowl should never, ever be placed in the bedroom.
Right. The bedroom is a place of rest, stagnation, and sleep. If you put your active wealth generators in the bedroom, you are telling your money energy to go to sleep.
Makes sense.
The wealth center belongs in the active living areas of the home, ideally the kitchen, which we've established is the heart of production, or the main living room where the energy is dynamic, social, and awake.
Okay, so let's build this bowl. First, the base. The bowl itself should preferably have a mirror or highly reflective base inside it. This is to symbolically reflect and multiply whatever is placed on top of it.
Multiplication of energy.
Then we have the stones. The most crucial stone to include is pyrite. For those who don't know, pyrite is often called fool's gold. But energetically, it actually holds an incredibly strong, dense frequency for attracting wealth and grounding financial intentions.
Pyrite's fascinating. Historically, it was used to spark fires, so it has this latent, dynamic energy. Energetically, it represents the physical manifestation of wealth. It is a very heavy, masculine grounding stone that acts as a magnetic anchor.
And what else goes in with it?
Alongside the pyrite, it is advised to add a mix of specific gems: lapis lazuli for wisdom and truth in business dealings, amber for drawing ancient, stable energy, and clear quartz to amplify the overall frequency of the entire bowl. You are essentially creating a miniature, customized, energetic grid in your living room.
Next comes the actual currency. You don't just throw random pocket lint and old receipts in there. You
Yeah.
use paper currency, but specifically even-numbered denominations. So a $2 bill, a 20, a 100.
Yes, the even numbers are key.
Now, the notes say that even numbers represent stable, balanced, receptive dipole energy. For a layperson, what does dipole energy actually mean in this context?
Let's pause on dipole energy for a second. Think of a standard magnet with a north pole and a south pole. The interaction between those two poles creates a stable, contained magnetic field.
Okay, I can picture that.
The instruction is suggesting that even numbers act like the stable magnet. They create a balanced, self-contained loop of energy that is highly receptive to holding wealth. Odd numbers, on the other hand, are seen as seeking a partner to balance them out, making their energy more transitional, solitary, and less stable for anchoring a long-term intention.
That's a really cool way to look at it.
You also want to include foreign currency from places where you actively want to do business or places you associate with prosperity. This broadens the magnetic pull of the bowl far beyond your immediate geographical location.
That magnet analogy makes perfect sense. And then there's a very unique element to add to this setup. A small cup of salt and water placed near or within the arrangement. You allow the water to slowly evaporate over the course of weeks, which causes the salt to crystallize and grow over time.
It's a living representation.
This physical, visible expansion of the salt crystals is a living representation of your wealth expanding and growing. It is a slow, steady, undeniable physical change that your subconscious registers every single time you walk past it.
It is a beautiful visual anchor. For the highly rational or tech-focused listeners out there, building a wealth bowl with pyrite and salt water might sound like pure superstition.
Yeah, some people might be rolling their eyes right now.
But if we view it through the lens of behavioral psychology as a physical anchor for your reticular activating system, which is the part of your brain that filters information, it becomes a highly practical daily reminder of your financial goals. Every time you see that bowl, your brain is prompted to look for opportunities that align with wealth creation.
Finally, there is a daily practice to accompany the bowl. It's recommended to keep a small, black metal box in the kitchen, specifically to gather your daily loose change.
Rather than just tossing it on the counter.
Right. The color black absorbs and protects, and metal is the elemental foundation of money. By placing your loose change in this hidden protected box, rather than leaving it scattered carelessly on dressers and cup holders or at the bottom of your bag, you're demonstrating reverence. You are keeping the energy of money hidden, protected, and gathered, which signals to your subconscious that you are a safe, respectful custodian of wealth.
All of these physical actions, the bowl, the stones, the salt, the black box, are ultimately tools to train the mind. They require intention, respect, and consistency.
You have to actually care about it.
When you treat these small representations of wealth with deep reverence, you inevitably begin to treat your actual finances, your career choices, and your personal energy with that same elevated level of respect. It builds a bridge between the esoteric energy and your practical reality.
Speaking of practical reality, we are about to cross that bridge. We've just spent all this time talking about creating a wealth bowl to attract energy. But there is a fascinating point made next. Attracting energy is completely useless if the container you pour it into, meaning our traditional banking system, is full of holes.
This is a major shift in the seminar.
Section 5 of our deep dives covers some stark warnings about economic shifts and the future of work. This is where the esoteric hits the pavement. The material transitions from healing your inner child's money wounds to warning you about the very real mathematical fragility of the global economy.
This is a crucial pivot. The instruction outlines a very clear prediction. The era of relying implicitly on centralized paper money and major monolithic banking institutions is highly precarious.
It's shaky ground.
We tend to view our bank balances as solid, immutable facts. But history shows us otherwise. There have been numerous instances globally where major national banks have simply vanished overnight. Systems collapse, hyperinflation takes hold, and digital or paper fortunes are completely wiped out in a matter of hours. The message is that putting absolute faith in centralized fiat currency is a dangerous illusion of security.
To clarify for everyone, when you say fiat currency, you're talking about the regular paper money we use every day, right?
Exactly. Fiat currency is government-issued money that isn't backed by a physical commodity, like gold or silver. Its value is entirely derived from the public's trust in the government that issued it.
So it's basically just a collective agreement.
If that trust evaporates, or if the government prints too much of it, the purchasing power of that paper plummets. It is essentially a shared belief system.
So if we can't fully trust the numbers on a screen at the bank, what is the advice? The strategy given is to move a portion of wealth into tangible physical assets. We're talking about physical gold and silver that you can actually hold in your hand. We're talking about owning land, productive soil that can yield resources.
Real tangible things.
And interestingly, it also mentions securing a small amount with decentralized digital currency as a modern hedge against the collapse of centralized banking systems.
It is a strategy of radical diversification outside the traditional system. If a banking collapse occurs, the numbers on your banking app are meaningless, but an ounce of gold, a plot of land that can grow food, or a decentralized ledger that cannot be shut down by a single government, these retain intrinsic or agreed-upon value regardless of the state of the national bank.
Right.
You are being urged to detach your life force from systems you do not control.
And it goes much further than just where you park your money. It fundamentally challenges how we make money. There's a massive philosophical shift occurring right now.
The end of the easy money era.
The era of getting rich by simply sitting back and collecting passive income, like the traditional landlord model of just collecting rent from a passive asset, or banking on infinite stock market growth, is ending.
If we connect this to the broader picture of automation, artificial intelligence, and global economic tightening, the easy, passive wealth generation models are becoming saturated and highly vulnerable to regulatory or systemic collapse.
So what's the alternative?
The argument is that future survival and prosperity will require active, highly adaptable, skilled production. You cannot just park your money and go to sleep. You have to be an active producer of value.
The advice given is incredibly practical, almost jarringly so after the talk of manifestation bulls. But I appreciate the balance.
Yeah.
The advice is to go out and learn real-world, highly demanded tech skills. We are talking about learning to code, mastering social media management for businesses, or even learning the physical mechanics of fixing electronics, like mobile phones and computers.
Hard skill.
The advice is so strong that it suggests you should be willing to work for free for 6 months at a company just to learn the trade and acquire the skills.
That is a powerful reality check for a lot of people. It asks the listener a very uncomfortable question. Are you relying on a corporate structure, a middle management title, or a passive system that might literally not exist in a decade?
That's a scary thought.
Or are you building adaptable, inherent skills that will be valuable regardless of what the economy does? If the banking system fails, or if your industry is automated, your knowledge of how to repair communications equipment or write software for a decentralized network is infinitely more valuable than a useless 401k statement. The true wealth, ultimately, is your capacity to produce value in any environment.
Okay, let's take a deep breath, because we have covered incredible ground, from ancestral trauma to the collapse of fiat currency. And now for the final major section, we are going to walk you through something truly expansive.
The visualization.
Section 6 is the energetic realignment. The material ends with an incredibly extensive, immersive 15-minute guided visualization sequence designed to literally rewire your energetic frequency. Here's where it gets really interesting. We are going to break down the exact mechanics of this meditation step by step, because every detail has a profound psychological purpose.
This visualization is designed to take all the disparate concepts we've discussed, the grounding, the clearing of trauma, the alignment with neutral gold energy, and encode them into the listener's nervous system through intense, sustained imagery. It is a psychological reprogramming tool.
Step 1 is the earth connection. The visualization starts by having you focus on a glowing red sphere at the root of your body, right at the base of your spine.
The root chakra.
From this red sphere, you visualize dropping a massive, heavy iron anchor deep down into the earth, passing through all the layers of dirt and rock until it locks into the Earth's molten red core. This is pure grounding.
Establishing safety.
Then you visualize holding a heavy, sharp axe. And with this axe, you mentally chop away the old, rotten, decaying roots attached to you. These represent the ancestral roots of poverty, the learned helplessness, the fear of starvation we talked about earlier. You sever them completely. Now, why an axe? Why chop them away violently instead of just, say, untying them?
The violence of the axe is psychologically necessary. Untying a knot implies a slow, careful unraveling of a relationship you might want to preserve. Chopping with an axe is a definitive, irreversible severance.
You're done with it forever.
By visualizing the violent severing of those roots, you are giving your subconscious radical permission to finally release the epigenetic trauma. You are saying, this stops with me, right now. You are establishing a new, clean connection to the Earth's vital, abundant energy without the murky filter of your ancestors' fears dragging you down.
Next, the meditation moves up through the chakras. You pull that vital earth energy up through your body. You visualize the red sphere at your base turning bright and clear. Then you move the energy up to the sacral area, just below the navel, turning it a vibrant, creative orange. Then up to the solar plexus, the center of your abdomen, turning it a blazing, confident yellow.
This progression represents moving your consciousness from basic primal survival, which is the red, up to the flow of creation, pleasure, and receiving the orange, and finally into personal power, willpower, and action, the yellow. You are systematically preparing the energetic body to hold the immense weight of wealth.
And right there, at the solar plexus, the yellow center of power, is where the core transformation happens. This is the golden coin visualization. You are instructed to visualize a massive, heavy, pure golden coin being placed directly into your abdomen.
The center of your being.
And then, the heat of your body causes the coin to melt. It melts into pure, liquid, neutral gold energy. And your heart begins to pump this thick liquid gold through your veins, pushing it out to your fingertips, down to your toes, and up into your brain. It is stated that this specific visualization neutralizes all financial anxiety. It replaces the desperate, grasping iron energy in your blood with the calm, stable, eternal frequency of gold.
Psychologically, this is a profound anchoring technique. Think about what happens to your body when you stress about money. Your blood pressure spikes, your chest tightens, adrenaline pumps through your veins. You are in fight or flight mode.
You feel like you're under attack.
By visualizing your blood as thick, slow-moving, unreactive liquid gold, you are forcing your parasympathetic nervous system to engage. You are associating your very lifeblood, your internal biological state of being, with the ultimate symbol of stable wealth. You're telling your nervous system that abundance is not outside of you, something to be chased and caught. It is literally flowing within you.
It sounds incredibly soothing just talking about it. Once you are filled with this gold, the meditation takes a massive leap into the cosmic journey. You visualize your consciousness floating up out of your physical body, leaving the earth behind, and floating up into the vast, dark cosmos.
The astral journey aspect serves to detach the listener from their immediate, mundane reality. When you are hyper-focused on your bills, your perspective is tiny. Floating into the cosmos expands the mind's canvas to an infinite scale.
It makes your problem seem small.
In the visualization, you visit a glowing pink star, which represents universal, unconditional love and worthiness, assuring your subconscious that you inherently deserve the abundance you seek. Then you travel to a massive golden sun, a source of infinite, inexhaustible power, reminding you that wealth is not a zero-sum game. The universe is abundant. Someone else doesn't have to lose for you to win.
There's enough for everyone.
Finally, you enter a cosmic treasure cave, a mental construct of infinite riches where you are invited to take whatever you desire, reinforcing the idea of a limitless supply.
Inside this cosmic cave, you engage in the next highly detailed step, the gemstones. You mentally collect specific, perfectly formed gemstones and place them on specific points of your energetic body. You place a deep, grounding ruby on the tailbone to solidify your foundation and survival instincts.
Balancing the root again.
You place a bright sunstone on the stomach to radiate confidence and help you digest your life experiences. You place a healing, abundant emerald directly on the heart, opening you up to love and generosity. You place a clear, communicative aquamarine on the throat so you can speak your truth, communicate clearly, and ask for what you are worth in business.
That's a big one for a lot of people.
It really is. You place a deep, intuitive sapphire on the forehead, the third eye, to see beyond immediate illusions and recognize true opportunities. And you place a spiritual amethyst on the crown of the head to connect you to higher inspiration.
By doing this, you are building a complete, harmonized, energetic structure within your mind. You are balancing every single aspect of your human psyche: survival, power, love, communication, intuition, and higher consciousness. You are telling your brain that wealth is not just about surviving, it is a holistic elevation of your entire being.
And the culmination of this gemstone placement is the most intense part. After the chakras are aligned with the stones, you visualize receiving a flawless, brilliant white diamond of absolute knowledge. And this diamond is placed directly into the center of your brain.
The ultimate symbol.
It illuminates your entire mind with a blinding white light, totally wiping away all confusion, all imposter syndrome, and all self-doubt regarding your path and your right to prosper.
It is the ultimate symbol of mental clarity and unbreakable resolve. A diamond is forged under immense pressure, yet it is flawlessly clear and indestructible. Placing it in the mind represents an unshakable mindset.
Finally, we have the return. You take all of this cosmic energy, the liquid gold in your veins, the frequency of the gemstones, the clarity of the diamond, and you journey back down through the cosmos to Earth. You re-enter your physical body in the room where you started.
Grounding it back into reality.
But you don't hoard this energy. You don't keep it to yourself. The final instruction is to visualize sending this newly acquired frequency of absolute abundance back down through your body, through your feet, and radiating it out into the earth, sharing it with the plants, the animals, and all of humanity.
This brings us beautifully full circle to the very first point of our deep dive, the balance of giving and receiving. You have received the ultimate cosmic abundance in the visualization, and your immediate action is to generously flow it outward without any fear of depletion.
It's a perfect loop.
This raises an important question, though, and it is a question skeptics often ask about these practices. Does visualizing yourself with a diamond in your brain actually change the physical reality of your bank account? Or, from a neurological perspective, does it simply rewire the reticular activating system in your brain?
For those who might not know, what exactly is the reticular activating system?
The reticular activating system, or RAS, is a bundle of nerves at our brainstem that filters out unnecessary information so the important stuff gets through. Your brain processes millions of bits of data every second, but you only consciously notice a tiny fraction of it. The RAS is the filter.
Okay, so it decides what we see.
If you believe you are poor and unlucky, your RAS filters out opportunities and only shows you evidence of your poverty. But if you spend 15 minutes a day intensely visualizing yourself as a neutral, golden magnet for wealth, programming your brain with images of diamonds and cosmic abundance, you are reprogramming that filter.
You're telling it to look for wealth instead of lack.
Your brain will suddenly start noticing the opportunities, the business connections, and the resources that were always there in your environment, but that your poverty-focused brain previously filtered out as irrelevant. Whether you believe it is cosmic magic or simple neuroplasticity, the result is the exact same. Your reality shifts because your perception and your actions fundamentally shift.
That is the absolute perfect way to ground that incredible visualization. It rewires your filter. So as we wrap up this massive deep dive, let's take a quick look at the journey we've been on together. We started by looking at the trap of being a giver and the subtle arrogance that blocks us from receiving.
The iron and the gold.
We explored the concept of our energy being like grasping, rusting iron versus stable, neutral gold. We investigated how our subconscious minds, fueled by the generational trauma of our ancestors and the epigenetic sticky notes on our DNA, will literally sabotage a real estate deal or make us crave heavy bread just to keep us in a familiar state of scarcity.
It's all connected to the environment, too.
We learned that a dripping faucet is a literal financial leak, and that putting a picture of a car on a refrigerator freezes our intentions and triggers our deep-seated anxieties. We mapped out exactly how to build a proper wealth bowl with pyrite, a mirror, and balanced, even-numbered bills.
And we looked at the real world.
We heard the stark warnings about the end of passive income and the absolute necessity of learning hard tech skills as centralized banking faces an uncertain future. And finally, we walked through a comprehensive cosmic meditation to replace our iron roots with liquid gold and a diamond of clarity.
It is an incredibly comprehensive system that bridges the deepest esoteric traditions with the harshest realities of the modern economy. But before we sign off, I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over, something to explore on your own that builds on everything we've discussed today.
I love this part.
Imagine you do the work. Imagine you successfully rewrite your subconscious code, you sever the ancestral trauma, and money begins to flow to you effortlessly as a completely neutral energy, just like gold. Does the accumulation of wealth suddenly lose its ego-driven meaning?
Wow.
If you no longer need money to prove your worth to others, to soothe your ancestral anxieties, or to validate your existence, what completely new, unimaginably profound purpose will you assign to your abundance tomorrow? When your survival is guaranteed and your ego is quiet, what does your wealth actually build in the world?
What a beautiful, challenging, and expansive question to end on. Think about that as you look at your own relationship with abundance. Thank you all so much for joining us on this deep dive. We strongly encourage you to take these concepts, experiment with them, look around your home for energetic leaks, look at your habits, and see what happens when you decide to become gold. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.